Editorial. Precipice of same. Not taking corrective measures is what undermines trust in Indian pharma. December 2021 and December 2022 could not have been more contrasting for India's pharmaceutical industry. Last year, it was hailed for developing vaccines that inoculated billions against the coronavirus and underlined its moniker as the pharmacy of the world. This year, two Indian drug manufacturing firms stand accused by two countries of producing toxic cough syrup linked to the deaths of children, at least 66 in the Gambia and 18 in Uzbekistan. While the Gambia case was highlighted by the World Health Organization, the second case has been flagged by the Uzbek Health Ministry. In both cases, it is not conclusively established that consuming the syrup directly led to the deaths. What is of concern is that in both countries, batches were spiked with ethylene glycol or diethylene glycol. Example: industrial chemicals, coal, industrial chemicals that have no business being inside bottles of cough syrup. The Indian government adopted a truculent stance after the scandal in the Gambia, while the export license of the Haryana-based Maiden Pharmaceuticals Limited, which supplied the syrup to the Gambia, was revoked. India authorities, rather than investigating how the cough syrup was spiked, chose to question WHO's assessment that it was the cough syrup that caused the acute kidney injury linked to the deaths. The Drugs Controller General of India brazened it out, with WHO in a letter suggesting that its own tests of control samples of the Maiden Pharma product showed them to be free of contaminants. It did not address how the Gambian panel's own tests found the contaminants, or how control samples have nothing to do with the acute actual spiked samples. The DCGI and subsequently the Health Ministry chose to thereafter take the line that the Gambian scandal was part of a conspiracy to malign India's reputation as a supplier of pharmaceutical goods. In the case of the Noida-based Marion Biotech, which made the Doc 1 Max cough syrup associated with the deaths in Uzbekistan, the government has again revoked the export license and reportedly ordered a freeze on its production facilities. Because it is early days and there is no WHO verdict on the causes of contamination here, the Indian government has sought to adopt a wait and watch position. It is high time that India takes a serious look at the core issue of why batches of exported cough syrup have been found to be laced with banned chemicals rather than play victim. While mistakes happen, not taking corrective measures is what threatens India's image and undermines trust in Indian industry. Second editorial. Bad to worse. Netanyahu will quicken Israel's fall into a repressive theocracy. The return of Benjamin Netanyahu as Israel's prime minister for a sixth time marks a decisive shift in its domestic politics and its relationship with the Palestinians. If in the past his right wing Likud party had formed diverse governing coalitions with centrist and relatively moderate parties, in the current six party right wing coalition, five are ultra orthodox and far right Jewish nationalist parties that make even Likud look moderate. The coalition agreement, a document that determines governing agendas, suggests that Mr. Netanyahu's government would pursue radical right wing policies seeking to expand illegal Jewish settlements in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem, remake the judicial system by handing more powers to parliament over courts and amend the basic law, removing hurdles for those with extremist views from contesting elections. Itamar Ben Gvir, a far right politician convicted for Jewish terror, links, and inciting racism in 2007, is the security minister with powers over Israel's police force. Bezalel Smotrich, leader of the ultra nationalist religious Zionism party, and now the new finance minister, wants to fund more Jewish settlements. Some of Mr. Netanyahu's coalition members are also known for their anti LGBT positions. For Mr. Netanyahu and Likud, the formation of Israel's most right wing coalition is a natural progression of the politics they have followed. In the past, Mr. Netanyahu embraced ultra orthodox and right wing parties, pursued conservative agendas, walked back from peace and cracked down on the Palestinians and deepened the occupation. It helped him become Israel's longest serving PM, but the Netanyahu era also reshaped Israel's politics, pushing it to the extreme right. The Prime Minister has dismissed criticism that his coalition would endanger Israel's democracy. At the same time, he has projected himself as a tough Prime Minister who would implement the coalition's agenda. The Jewish people have an exclusive and indisputable right to the entire land of Israel, he said on Wednesday, referring to historical Palestine and suggesting that settlements would continue unabated. If the Knesset passes judicial reforms, the government, with the support of 64 MPs in the 120 member parliament, can override even the Supreme Court rulings. Besides, parties such as the SAS, the United Torah Judaism, and Religious Zionism will influence the government's decisions that could alter the state religion balance in a country where over 20% of the people are minorities. As Mr. Netanyahu's coalition seems determined to remake Israel's politics internally and deepen the occupation and subjugation of the Palestinians externally, it could also quicken the country's fall into an elected Jewish theocracy. Thank you.